Right, let's jump into creating our HTML template for our attendance app here. And we're going to be using this layout and flex and everything, and we're also going to be using our a card here to just build things. So right now this is how it is, and this is how we kind of want it to be, right? And in here I'm using two V layouts, one up here and one down here, to control how they fit together, and to have these parent and child elements inside of this to control them better. So how the button stays over here, and so on and so on. But for now, we're just going to go back to this, and if you're not at this point, just search for card if you don't want to go down in the UI components and locate cards. And just click this button here, the greater than and less than sign, and you can get the HTML for this. What we're going to use goes from the layout to layout here, right? We don't want the template part. And go back to your what's it called? Your Visual Studio, your coding environment here, and I'm just going to paste them in between the containers here, so like this. So let's click save, see if this works. Let's go back to this, and woo, we have a super pretty card here with Kangaroo Valley and so on. Now, if we quickly look at this, we have something called vflex up here. This is something that says XS12, SM2, offset -SM3 and so on. What does that mean? Well, if you look at our design here, how it's being built, how it's being shown with the margin, spacing and everything, it should make some sense, but let's just quickly test this. So if I make my browser smaller, at some point this goes to 100% width, right? So in this case, when we get to this resolution here, and when it goes bigger, it's kind of half the screen. And this is because of this. So here we have something called extra small screens, which is, for example, mobiles. Then it will change the design to fill from half the space to 100%, so 12 column in this case. That's what this indicates. So it's using up all 12 columns at this specific view or this breakpoint, right? So here it uses 12, here it uses half the column, so only 6 of them. That's why it looks like this. Offset -SM3 means, well, it's creating the margin over here on each side. So 3 columns of space over here, 3 columns of space over here needs to be blank, and then we are squishing this in between, right? So if I just change this to say 8, I want it to be a little bit wider, but I also need to change this to 2. And the reason it's 8 and 2 is because we need a total of 12 columns. So here we're using 8, here we're using 2, that only gets 10. What are you talking about, dude? But there's 2 sides, so 2, 10, well, 2, 10, 2, 2. That means 8 plus 4, and that hopefully will get you to this part here, which is this. And we can just change it again if we want to look at 10, and we want only 1 on each side, so a little bit wider like this. Then we can do this as well. So, whoops, did I save? Just went a little bit fast here. But we can do this, and you can see changes on all these sides. And how does it actually know what to do on all these things? What does S, SM and XL and all these things mean? Well, if you go back to this vuetify here, and if you just search for breakpoints, so just breakpoints like this, you get to this page, and this here page, this is the same as material designs, but you can see here what XS means. This is for extra small, and it indicates it's a mobile, right? And small is for landscaping mobiles, media or apps, perhaps tablets, not apps, and medium screens for desktops, so on and so on, right? And it's also stated here 4K ultra wide and so on, right? And also indicates the range, so 600 pixels, 600 to 960. So this is breakpoints we're already familiar with, but that's kind of what they are. When we get a little bit further into Vue, in the, for example, next session where we're using the CLI to install everything, we get a little bit more possibilities to change things like this, so we can create our own breakpoints if we want to, or reuse the one Vue already has for us. It's really up to us. But we can change basically most of the things we want using this. Awesome, that's a lot of information for you. But we implemented our card here, and let's go back to our view here, because I'm just gonna take this layout here, steal it, and copy it out again, because I need another layout for this. And I'm just gonna remove image like this, and I'm going to remove the card action. And in between, I'm going to also remove this, so we have primary title, and I'm going to do the same for the top one. Remove the v-card-actions between the tags of the primary title and the image here. I just want the cards to be part of what I want to create, so I have these two here, right? So 1 and 2. Awesome. Last thing I want to do before we continue to the next one is I want to add an attribute to this. So if you look down here, there's something called, where is it? Flat. So this states it removes the card box shadow. So I don't really want this shadow around. As you can see here, there's no shadow. If you want the shadow, cool, but I don't want the shadow in this case. So I'm going to remove this, and you can see as a standard, it's set to false. But I can just add this into my code. And if we look at the card here, as it was what we were trying to get here, we need to just like a buff here where we just do a space and then we type in, and we just want the flat to be true in this case. So set flat to this, and that means it's true, and we're going to do the same down here with this card down here, flat, and let's see, and bam, now it's all the shadows are gone. It's hard to see, but we can just change the background color so it's more easy for you to see. But that's kind of how we can use some of the simpler things, some of the things that Vue provides to us. And we'll continue building on top of this in the next following videos.